I get it. Some people would rather have a visual representation of the point that I'm trying to get at. So just imagine this. If I decide I want to do a video about how we need to try and curb junk food when it comes to children, what you want, if you two are invested in that subject, is for me to look down this lens and nicely and smartly and intelligently give you my points. If then I'm told I've got to do it like this and do it through a puppet, you're going to wonder what the hell is going on. Because this isn't serious. There's nothing serious about this. This is a puppet version of me trying to talk to you about a serious issue. What the hell? And that is kind of how I see the Dean Ambrose WWE situation and why I want to talk about it today. But I should preface this video by also saying, right now, there is every chance we're being hoodwinked. We don't know 100% that Ambrose is going to leave the WWE after WrestleMania. And if that is true, and I have been tricked by World Wrestling Entertainment, then good. I'm glad. Do more of it. The whole point of wrestling is that now and then it can pull the wool over our eyes. And if this is a way to do it, good. Sweet. I like to question the good. I like to question the bad. And I like to question the outright weird, which is why I'm going to give a shout out to the guy that got in touch with me to tell me the real reason Dean Ambrose is going to leave the WWE is because he has no friends backstage. That is a genuine message I received too. Again, shout out to that guy. That was one of the strangest things I've got in a long time because I had so many questions. One, how do you know? And two, it's not really any of your business. Let's take it as read that he is off after the showcase of the Immortals though. And I tell you, something inside of me says that WWE is gonna regret it. Why? Here's why. I'm sure a lot of you have thought about this too, but a big eye-opener for me is everything that happened after the fact. When we did get to the next episode of Raw, and we didn't really know what Dean Ambrose was going to do, he came out, he insulted EC3, made a joke about Creed, confronted Nia Jax, and really, if you wrote all this down on paper, you would say it read as a nothing segment. But Dean Ambrose made it work, or at least that's what I thought. And sure, I know a lot of people did think that it sucked, but I don't think you can aim that word at Dean Ambrose. He delivered each one of his lines with the power you'd expect, and he balanced himself. So while he could have come across like a goof, he absolutely didn't, because he also sounded like he was ready to kick somebody's ass. I don't think many others could have been put into this and made it work, but that is what Dean has been doing for a long damn time. He's been making lemons out of lemonade. Other way around. No, what? That way. It hasn't always been the case, because sometimes the booking has just been too bad. I mean, I don't think many people are going to get away with pretending somebody is injecting them in the ass so they don't get any diseases. But Ambrose has worked with bad material and smashed it far more than the other way around. Even when he was on SmackDown pretending to be a Mountie, for some reason, he made that rather fun. You can roll your eyes at that, but that's not aimed at him. That's aimed at the company. And I remember when it happened, I saw you on Reddit and Facebook and Twitter. You were all saying you thought it was kind of enjoyable. Obviously, therein lies the problem, because it is all of this stuff that reportedly is the reason that Dean Ambrose wants to walk away. The quote has been, he doesn't want to do the goofy stuff. And my word, if that is true, has he been given a lot of goofy stuff to do? Remember he was eating the pizza? And I've highlighted numerous of these, but there's also loads more. Even when he was feuding with Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose, that should have been wonderful. He had Mitch the Plant. It also means that Dean is correct. While his other Shield brethren have gone on to headline WrestleManias and win countless world titles, he's kind of always been left in the shadows or left a little bit behind. If like Seth and Roman are over here, Dean is here and he's trying to catch up, but someone backstage has got their arm out going, not you, Dean. Not you. His own world title win a few years ago was absolutely wonderful, but even then it was kind of like we fell into this situation because there was nothing else to do, and that giant hand was still there. And when you do that time and time again, you're not only going to wear the performer out, but you're going to wear the fans out too. And you can double all that when the talent in question knows deep down, I've got more than this. I can do better, just give me a chance, coach, put me in the game. But instead, they keep you on the subs bench. And I remember when the Shield first broke into the company, the name that was doing the rounds was Dean Ambrose. He was compared to the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mick Foley, and that ain't bad company to keep. Hey, he was even supposed to have some kind of feud with the latter, but that got culled too. The reasons for that aren't 100% known, but I bet it all builds up. Just another program that could have cemented him pulled away at the last second. And going back and remember that match he had with Triple H at that Roadblock pay-per-view. I mean, Dean was never going to win the World Championship there. I remember the fever in the audience and the desperation that, look, if you want to give Dean just a little something, maybe you can do it here. We didn't, and we didn't capitalize on it at all, did we? Instead, what we did do was a couple of months later, we put him in that match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32, and because Brock Lesnar was about to go back to the UFC, Dean Ambrose just had to bite the bullet. And do you see a theme recurring here? If you don't, I don't think you've watched the video. Don't make me get the puppet back out. All of this comes together when, of all things, you put into your head that WWE 2K video commercial that focused on the Terminator. And that sounds weird. I know that sounds out of left field, but if you haven't seen it, Google it quickly, have a watch, and then come back and I'll explain my point. Right, so that for me was a real moment when it came to what Dean Ambrose may be capable of. I mean, he doesn't do much. It's a very short trailer, but everything he does do just makes sense and it just works. It's not goofy, it's not cheesy, it's not corny. He's given the role of being told by Arnold Schwarzenegger that he needs his boots and his motorcycle. And of course, Dean Ambrose replies, "You forgot to say please." You all know that scene. If you haven't, it means you didn't watch the Terminator. What are you doing? Anyway, even though Dean is smoking a ridiculous cigar throughout all of that, he fits in. Once more, he took the role that was given to him, absolutely smashed it. And just to reiterate a point I made a while back, I don't think many other people on the roster could have done this. In fact, I bet some of them would have made it a little bit embarrassing. Ever since I thought that Ambrose could be put in more engaging and maybe a little bit more deeper or controversial storylines, and he'd somehow managed to make it break through. Although you could say, if you want the ultimate debate, that even in this commercial, he had to put over Schwarzenegger. It's true, he did. So this isn't about Ambrose being a top guy, and more about the positions he always seems to land in, even when we got the heel turn. I know I'd been desperate for that for a while. What did we get? We got a germaphobe. And also it was a germaphobe that didn't even have anything leading up to it. One day he was on TV going, "Hey fans, I think you've got germs. I don't like germs. I'm going to wear a gas mask." That is such a 180 shift, even more so when you do indeed go on the internet and hear what some of the reports say were the plans for WrestleMania 35, which is happening in but a couple of months. Naturally, there are far more important things going on when we do start talking about Roman Reigns, but looking at it from a purely wrestling perspective, people do say that, yes, at the Show of Shows happening on April 7th, it was going to be Roman Reigns taking on the heel Dean Ambrose. They were going to feud and it was going to culminate there. And is it likely that Dean was going to win? Probably not. But still, having that kind of position on the card and probably being in a program that had built, that is just going to help anyone, as opposed to, again, please jab me in my bum, I don't want to get ill. Also, you don't know what would have happened. If you had turned Dean and allowed him to be the bad guy, we all know that he could be, there's every chance on WrestleMania week Vince McMahon thinks, you know what? This ain't right. Dean Ambrose should be winning here. We can get more mileage out of the feud if we do that. And let me tell you this, if Dean Ambrose wins the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 35, you ain't getting Dean Ambrose walking out of WWE after WrestleMania 35. That's an equation, that's maths. And there's an even bigger chance of that if, yes, the actual main event would have been Charlotte versus Ronda versus Becky, because when you are further down the card, you can have a bit more fun with the titles. When you're ending the show, usually you need the good guy standing tall. It didn't happen, and instead we decided to take the Lunatic Fringe so that he could bring some lols to the audience. That is so out of left field, and quite understandably, you can understand a wrestler thinking, this is just where I am in the status quo. Maybe I should start thinking about my options because I ain't getting any younger. I would like to do something within this industry that I deem to be creatively satisfying. What do? And I look over there, and unfortunately for WWE, they're over there. All of this too before we even begin to discuss Jon Moxley, because there are a lot of fans out there who can't even believe that he became Dean Ambrose. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and research the independent version, I hate that term, but we'll use it, of who we now known as Dean Ambrose. His name was Jon Moxley, and he was basically a psychopath. So when we do take all of this and wrap it up in a little ball, I do think WWE is going to regret not satisfying Dean Ambrose's wrestling appetite. We don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to go to AEW? Is he going to go to New Japan? Is he going to take some time off the sport entirely? All I know is that if I'm Cody Rhodes or the Young Bucks and I'm about to start a new promotion and I know someone of that quality is just walking around as a free agent, at the very least, I'm going to give him a call. If he doesn't answer, I'm going to send him an email. And if he doesn't answer that, I'll send a damn carrier pigeon because I want Dean Ambrose in my company. And yeah, he's not Hulk Hogan going to WCW out in 1994, but he is someone. He does have star power, And again, personally, if I think finally he's going to get to star on the big stage, I'm at least tuning in because I want to see what he's going to be allowed to do. That's what I think anyway, and you can't argue with me because I started this video with a puppet version of myself. And as we all know, when you do that, it goes to show you're a serious and a deep investigatory journalist. Thank you very much. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Dean Ambrose and what his potential future may be. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling. The button's there. All you got to do is click it and it's free. Then why not head over to WhatCulture.com? You can read yourself some articles about wrestling. We all love wrestling. And you can follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Plus, watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. Click, click. My name is Simon Miller. This was the Wise Series. Thank you very much for joining me. And I damn well will see you again soon, but hopefully, like, not in the flesh, because that means that I just pop up from nowhere and you'd be like, Simon, why aren't you in your little box on my computer? And I'd be like, I am. This is just a dream. What's going on?